Hey fellow YouTubers, this is X, and I'm going to show you today on how to actually install a CPU onto your motherboard. I'm going to try to start running a lot of segments on installation and repair of PCs. So just follow along and maybe you might pick up something that you might need to know. Hopefully these videos will be helpful for one that needs to know how to do things on their own PC. So let's just move along. And let me explain to you what needs to be done. This is a demonstration board, and I'm going to show you how to install, like I said, a CPU onto your motherboard. Basically, this is the CPU. This is an old AMD style CPU. Most of my equipment is AMD by chance, so we're going to be working with AMD stuff most of the time. Alright? This is what you call the heat sink and the fan. Now you need this, and if you look on the bottom of it, it has like a little piece of silver and whatnot. This used to be like a stick-on application that goes on top of the CPU when you put the CPU onto the motherboard. Alright, nevertheless, I don't have this has been taken apart. Now if you were in a case where it was taken apart before, what you should do is make sure that you go to the store and they have this stuff at the local PC store, and it's a thermal cooling gel that you're supposed to put on top of this, put it back into the spot where it was on the CPU, and there's a thermal cooling gel that you put on it, and then you put this back onto the top of the CPU once you install the CPU to the motherboard. Very simple application, just follow along. Underneath the CPU, actually, there are pins underneath here. There's a lot of pins. Now, on the pin pattern, if you notice, it has three corners that are square on the inside, right here, here, and here. And on this side here, it's kind of cut differently. This is made so that you don't put the CPU in the wrong way. You don't want, if it was all square, you would never know which way it was supposed to sit inside onto the board. Okay, so be aware of that, so that if you install a CPU, don't just try to throw it in and then find out that you don't have the pins aligned correctly and you'll cause damage also. So now that we know that, you just take this. It has an arm, you see right here on side. This is actually a lock after you install a CPU. So now after you look, this should be up, a matter of fact, when you're about to install a CPU, never down. Otherwise it won't go into the socket correctly. Alright, so now as I was showing you, the corner here has one corner. It's not a corner, it's cut, and it has a little slice there where it's not cornered. Alright, it's not a 45. So now what you got to do now is you look onto the motherboard and you look at all the slots here, and then you check, and then you look and you make sure that you align this correctly onto the motherboard. So basically, it would probably be this corner right here, because I see the way the pin settings are. I don't have the way to set my camera where you could see so closely. So now that I know it's set like that, the CPU is set flush into the board. All you have to do now is just depress the lever down and it clicks into place. Alright? Now after that is done, you turn around and now you want to install whatever you want to call it, the heat sink and the fan. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I don't know where my mind is at the moment. If you look at it, it has these two clamps underneath it. There's a clamp on this side, and there's the clamps that hold the CPU onto the board. I mean, not the CPU, but the heat sink. Alright? Now if you look at it, they're kind of set offwards and whatnot due to the fact on this board that the CPU is more on the inside of here. Alright, so the long side of this should be on this side. So basically, there's a little hook hole in the bottom of it, and then you hook it on like so. Actually, I'm sorry. You see this side here has a hook plus another little edge on it right there. and the other side it has nothing on that. You want to use the side with nothing first, and you want to clamp that in first like this onto the little, there's a little notch on the board. Now on the other side, basically you can just push it down and clip it on. Alright, now what this notch is for right here that I was showing you before, right here, this little notch, it's for when you want to release it later. You can stick like a screwdriver in here and actually pull down and it will release the fan, so that you want to install another CPU later. That's basically it. Now we have this connection here. Of course, it's important. This is the fan. Now, the reason why I had the magnifying glass here is because sometimes, I can't see that close, and there's fine print on the motherboard that you can actually see. And I use the magnifying glass for many reasons on the motherboard, because I can't see the fine print, basically. So I've already looked, and on the board you can see it says CPU fan, basically right up in the corner right here. Okay, so now what you would want to do is find that on your board, or if you had the information like the instructions to your motherboard, you would just plug it into there. Okay, so basically it's that simple, and it's done. That's how you would install a CPU to your motherboard. Alright folks, thanks for checking out my video. Sorry about some of the glitches. To tell you the truth, this is my first video. Alright, like I said, thanks again.